Just to emphasize what it is about scaling up, I'd like to propose to Peter to join us on the floor. Peter is from Bosh, a very innovative company, and I believe, Peter, you were a kind of early adopter of intrapreneur type initiatives, and I believe you have been running these kind of activities for many years now, and it's really a pleasure to have you to share about your experience, what you have learned, so we are ready to listen to you.
Merci Bertrand.
We push and pull like a magnet do. Although my heart is falling too, I'm in love with your body.
Yeah, indeed, we started a bit earlier than BP did. I wouldn't say that we have mastered it already. We're still in the process. So we started 2013. And looking back, what was the reason? So what is the why? Why is Grow there? There's a number of examples in Bosch, of course, we're an innovative company, that we created new businesses inside the company. And one example is the electric powertrain for bicycles that you might have come across. And if you look at it closer, then there was a lot of luck involved. There was the right person at the right time protecting the startup and supporting it. There was finally some delays that actually led to the fact that we hit the market at the right time. And actually we got some technology right from corporate business that we could use there. So if you look back there, then it was way too much luck for a company like us to continue this way. So we are systematic, nous sommes les Bosch. Alors, that was the trigger actually to found Grow as a platform that learns. And what is Grow about now? It's about actually to provide three kinds of freedom in order to explore new markets for Bosch and create new businesses there and provide these three kinds of freedom to startups. So we are not doing core business. We are not doing adjacencies either. We leave that to the business divisions. They can do it actually because the amount of freedom that you need for running core business is very low. We are spending a lot of money there and we need high success rates. So that creates a lot of processes, a lot of rules that make sure success rate in core business projects is way beyond 80%. On the other end, if you want to have radical innovation, as opposed to incremental, we expect surprising results. We want to handle uncertainty, and this is where we need the freedom for. And I would like to define the freedom in three areas, which is processes, culture, and environment. Just to set the context right, I repeat the picture from Frank. I just changed the colors a little bit. The whole process leads from exploring new business up to integrating into core business where we exploit the business, where we earn money with it. And this starts with incubation, and then in between there's the famous transition phase, and then finally we hope to grow profitably inside the core business. And this is a process of not only developing the business, what is more important actually is the transformation of this kind of business, of the team, of the culture in between. And this is what I want to talk about. So first, development of the business. What do we do there? Well, this is all known. Whatever comes first, desirability, customer needs, or technology solution, we call it market pull or technology push. So this is how the idea is created. We bring these both together and then we have an idea. Next thing, we apply design thinking. So we invite the teams that apply with an idea, apply the design thinking to add the business dimension, viability. So this finally creates then, it's an iterative process, a value proposition. And afterwards, we need to build the processes around that so that we can actually run the business, and that creates a business for us. And now we come to the point where we still want to integrate this new business into a big corporate. So the corporate context comes across, and we need to make some space there to fit the corporate context in. And this actually is the hard part. And this is where the transformation is much harder inside a big corporate than outside. And this is what I want to talk about then. So this is the timeline there. We apply design thinking and also the lean startup approach during incubation phase. And this is all written well in many books, so you can actually learn that and apply that quite well. What is not described in books yet, not in as many as at least, this is the transition phase from having a value proposition and then scaling it up in a corporate context. So we add the transformation now, and we start with processes. Processes in a corporate, and I think many of you come from a corporate environment, you know usually that companies are well established. So they're running for many years. Bosch is running for 132 years. And every time something went wrong in a big Bosch organization, where we first looked who was responsible, and we are a social company, we didn't fire him, and then we made a new rule that this wouldn't happen again. And now we are sitting on a pile of hundreds of rules that prevent us from making mistakes in the core business. So that means that all these rules are optimized for core business. So they are protecting our core business. They make it run efficiently and reliable. What they don't allow is to do something different. No, that's exactly what they're made for. They prevent you from doing something different than core business. So usually you find the optimum in these processes between quality and cost. And Bosch, we define us as leading in quality rather than in cost. So maybe our bubble, our optimum is rather close to quality, but it's far away from speed. This is what you're losing. In this optimization, you can only pick two. The other one drops. So, and usually big corporates, they're optimized for either cost or quality, so we drop speed. But speed is exactly what we need for fast exploration of new markets. So in Grow, in our legal entity, and we are 100% owned subsidiary of Bosch, we optimize our processes for speed. And we optimize only the processes that we actually need for exploration. This is like purchasing material, personnel acquisition, shipment invoicing, branding, facility management, and co-working. So this is the kind of processes that allow a startup this kind of freedom in the process to speed up, to create a minimum viable product, to engage with the customer early, to also reiterate and improve the concept quickly, and also to pivot sometimes. So how does it look like in the timeline? We start very early on in the incubation phase with all the processes optimized for speed. Problem is, we want to integrate into the big corporate sometime, and now it doesn't fit anymore. So we need to move this optimum back to quality and cost. That means that we implement corporate processes finally in the startup. And that's a hard task because all the culture in the startup is totally opposed against corporate processes. So that's one part of it, transforming the processes from optimized for speed to optimized for quality and cost. But there's more, there's culture. And most of you already mentioned culture before being a very important part. So talking about teams and culture. And what you can observe there, the teams with us, they start usually very small. We don't accept single inventors. We always say we need a team, so it's 2 at least. Sometimes it's 3. But these are 3 guys, same level, no hierarchies. There's no leader. They basically take all responsibility and ownership for the idea they have, and they want to take it forward. And this is how they start. This is the founding team in the very beginning. And after a couple of months, usually a leader evolves, and we would call them CEO at one point in time, and there's roles. But still there's no hierarchy. Everybody's doing what's needed at the point of time. Everybody's going to the customer, is maybe also getting its hands or his hands dirty, building a product, building an MVP, and taking it out to the market. So there's only roles, like somebody specializing in finance more, some in operations, some in technology, some in people. So CPO, I like the word of Chief People Officer rather than HR. And that lasts for another 2 or 3 years sometimes. And we keep adding people, and then we come to a point where we have like 10 people, and suddenly everybody talking to everybody else is very inefficient. It takes too much time to manage that everybody has the same information. And this is the point when usually the startup itself introduces some hierarchy. So then sometimes departments are created. And now you need to make sure, like in a big corporate, that there's no silos and they still manage to exchange information. So that's the hard part of transforming the culture and the team from the initial founding to a corporate structure. But it's not enough. There's more than that. It's also about an environment. You all know your corporate offices. That's usually a very standardized structure. There's standardized furniture. There's many walls. There's big buildings usually. And the problem is, as soon as you have more than 20 meters between people, there's no spontaneous communication anymore. So you need to put a lot of effort into organizing communication. What we have created is, well, it doesn't look like that anymore. It was the picture from construction a good year ago. We have picked an old manufacturing building, high ceilings. We removed all the walls, almost all the walls. So there's no walls between the teams. All the teams interact with each other. And this is what we wanted to achieve. So we wanted to create 3 eyes for innovation. Intelligent people with a lot of information. They interact with each other, and then we added art. We invited artists to create an environment that is inspirational. So that's the 3 I's that we need for innovation: information, interaction, and inspiration. And this is how it really looks. So that's a real Norwegian hut that was built in Norway, brought to our premises, and teams are using it for a meeting room. So you can just book it in Outlook, and occasionally you're in this meeting room, you're occasionally in a different meeting room. So this always gives you an impulse to sort your thoughts, your knowledge in your brains, and come up with new ideas. And just finally, some examples. So summary. The message I wanted to get across is scaling a startup. It's not about just growing the business. It's more, and the hardest part is more about transforming the startup in terms of culture, in terms of environment, and also in terms of processes, from being a founding team, just very few people doing everything hands-on, into a very structured corporate organization with hierarchies, with stable processes, and with a culture that is more emphasizing quality and efficiency. Examples. We started 2014 building business in agriculture, and we actually started with robotics. We thought we could sell harvesting robots to farmers, like 2 tons heavy, big like a car, about 100,000 euros. And going to the customer, we learned it wouldn't work. They would never invest. Farmers are short in cash, so they don't know what they earn next year. What we learned there is they have a hard time gathering data to make decisions. So what we are actually doing now is we are supplying IoT solutions, cloud solutions for gathering data with a smartphone app that allows farmers to make decisions: when to water, when to harvest, when to fertilize, whatever. And this works quite well. So pivoting away from big heavy robots investment to actually selling a service was a big deal, which was only possible in this kind of freedom. Second one, totally non-digital. We took ceramics technology, which is coming from spark plugs actually and from sensors, and brought them into different industries like coffee machines. And grow our company is the European market leader for ceramic milling plates for coffee machines. Very small business, we're talking 3 million euros a year there, but we are the market leader. And this was possible because we gave a team from a plant in Bosh the freedom to actually took their technology into a different industry and to sell to consumer manufacturers, which is a totally different world in car OEMs. So just 2 examples what we can achieve when we give a freedom inside a big corporate to leverage the technology that we already have for going into new markets using new business models. Yeah, and finally, you've seen the picture already. Frank promised us a lot of coffees when we promote the book. So no, we actually, it was really, that's why thank you all. It was really a pleasure to work with a number of big companies, all sharing similar experiences, all overcoming these challenges with different ways. And we really put together some interesting case studies in the book, and I can clearly recommend it. Thank you.